Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we're continuing on with the quick vids for the G11P, and for this one we're going to be concentrating on the dual rate setups, which you'll find in this menu. And if we look on here, they're all set to 100%. So if we look at steering rate, we can see a steering will go 100% in either direction. As we back this down, so back it right down to an extreme so you can see what I mean. Now we've only got 5% travel. It brings both of your endpoints down at the same time. And what this can be useful for, if we take a touring car layout, for example, on-road car, so you may find that as the track conditions warm up, you've got far too much grip and far too much steering, the back end of the RC switching ends all the time. As you're driving, you can come in, back the steering dual rate down. That'll give you less travel on your steering and it'll be less likely to throw the back end out. It is nice if you set this to a switch so you can turn it off straight away just in case you crash and you need to flip round really quick in track. So it is nice if you have these set to a button or a dial. As a rule, once I've set the steering up on most of my on-road cars, I'm usually somewhere between 85 and 90% once the tyres are warm. It is nice depending on how wide the track is. Sometimes you want a bit more if you've got a 180 degree corner where you do want to throw the back end of the car out and get it turned around really quick. So that comes in really useful. Next, we've got as throttle dual rate. Now again, if we start backing this down, you can see what it does. It limits the actual full throttle. Still give you 100% brake, but your throttle's limited. You can also use it to reduce the amount of brake. So for me, what I like to do is set the brakes on the ESC to 100% and then use the actual control, your transmitter, to control the actual endpoint to limit your amount of braking. You do have really strong braking then, but if it's over the top for the track you're on, you can back it down. Also, if you're running bashers and you've got it bound to like a Creighton EXB, if you're hitting the brake and you're finding the RC nosediving and rolling over, you can just come onto here, you can drop the brake down a bit, and then you're not getting 100% brake. You can drop it down to the point where it'll brake really hard but not roll over forward. Likewise for throttle, if you're on a race RC and you feel like you've got far too much speed at the end of the longest straight, we can come in and we can back this down, and that way if you're in a race when you realise it and you haven't got time to change your gearing, change your boost timing or anything on your ESC, this is a good way to limit it, just so you're not overrunning the longest straight, the corner at bottom of it, and piling off into end at track, which yeah, that can cause a mess. I've done that a few times. But the beauty of this transmitter, if we go in here and we set this, so not only are they controllable, they're also viewable on the screen the entire time. So if we come over to our assignment menu, change this to a trim, we can then come down and you see we've got steering rate, forward rate, or brake rate, or rate brake, whichever you want to call it. So if we go to steering rate, we can then set that, and that'll set that to TR3, and we can come out. So steering rate, we've got whether we want it to work in normal or reverse. So if you press this forward and the number went down, or you want it to go down, and back you want it to go up, we can then reverse it. So then forward will go down, backwards will go up. You've also got the option of how much you want it to go by. So with steering rate, You may want to try it at 1, because it's nice to just go one step at a time. And then if we back out, so if we back out to his menu, we've got a steering set, and then what we can do, we can back this rate down so we get less travel. And you can see on the screen we're now down to 76%. We can put it all the way back to 100%, and if you notice on here, it's not travelling the same both ways because it's how I've got the steering set up on that. Needs to play with it a little bit and get the steering centered perfect. But you can see the effect of it. It brings down both endpoints at the same time. And likewise, if we go into his menu, we come across to assign, change this to trim, go down to TR4, which is the little button two-way toggle on the trigger. We can go into here, we can set it to forward rate, or we can set it to brake rate. So then if we back out, we can see when we move either one of this toggle, we can change the brake rate down. So you can see we can have his brakes reduced all the way down or any point in between. And again, if we look in here, you can come across, you can reverse the function, or you can change the amount of steps it goes. So you can have it 1, 2 or up to 100. But it is quite useful, and you can set that for anything on these trims. So we can have as throttle and brake and steering, all your dual rates fully controllable, and you can change them on the fly as you're running the RC. Comes in really handy racing. It's definitely got its uses for bashers. And if we look, so if we go into variable, you've also got the same options. So if we set it to VR1 and then back out, we can now change as throttle rate on this dial as well. So you've got real-time control of your dual rate of your throttle. So hopefully that clears up how to set this. You can set it to any of the, if we go in here, you can set it to any of the trims or the VRs, variable resistors, so this one or the one just above the grip. If you look at the switches, there's no option for dual rate, so you can't set it to turn the dual rates on or off. We've got plenty of options on here what we can set to switches, but not dual rates. And also if you look at the programmable buttons, I believe this will be the same. Yeah, I'm not seeing dual rate. So although we can set our dual rates, we can see them on screen. You can set your dual rate controls to any variable resistor or trim. Basically anything that's got multiple steps to it will let you assign it, and you can put that in whichever order you feel best. You can take your steering trim and throttle trim off here, so you could literally go throttle dual rate, brake dual rate and steering dual rate if you want. You don't have to have the trims. It's useful to have the trims, especially for steering, but once you've set the RC up, you shouldn't really have to use it. So you could swap these out and have these as your dual rates. So anything's possible, it's all fully programmable. But yeah, hopefully that gives you some idea of what you can configure, what these dual rate settings do and why you'd want to use them, and how to get them on the actual trims or your variable dials. But Thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. Hopefully you find this useful, entertaining, or just like listening to my incessant ramblings. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.